Hello, all. We are back. It was a small break, but here we are again. New episode. Jimmy has returned again to join us. Jimmy, thank you very much. How you doing, bro?
Good, mate. Good. Yeah, good to be back as always. Always glad to be here.
Fantastic. Good to have you on. Guys, before we dive into where I'm going to start in terms of talking points this week, don't forget to like, follow, share, and subscribe to our pages, which are at Top Cinco Pod. That's at Top Cinco Pod. Don't forget, we actually do have many clips as well that we chop up from these episodes, and they will be on TikTok as well, and that's at Top Cinco Pod. So, like I said, on all of those platforms, make sure you like, follow, share, and subscribe, and then obviously on YouTube as well. Much love is appreciated. Let's get into it because I'm taking it back to last Wednesday, because last Wednesday was a big day in the Premier League. As you have all seen, Jimmy, we will start with the Man United Ipswich game because that was again another big game for Man United, and they really had to dig deep and actually end up beating Ipswich Town 3-2. What were your thoughts on the game and how you guys have obviously? We'll talk about how you did on the weekend as well, but let's talk about the Man United Ipswich game first.
Yeah, it's a weird one because under normal circumstances, that if you just read me like what happened in the game and then the result, I'm going to be so happy with that. Like the fact you went down to 10 men and then end up scoring whilst you have 10 men and win the game. That's normally great. That's normally a great like feeling, and you'd be really happy with that result that you pulled through. But it's just sad. It's just sad seeing this every week. There wasn't any sense of like, oh yes, what a result, great result.
You guys are woeful.
Man, we've made it really hard work against
an own goal.
Like, my feelings on the red card, it's one of those. I personally don't think that's a red card, but that's based on what I think should and shouldn't be accepted. Wait. Should and shouldn't be accepted in the game. Right. However, under modern rules, and knowing what the ref's going to do and how they're going to slow it down and all that shit, then it's a red card. But I don't think if I got hit with that tackle obviously I played at an extremely low level, but I would never in a million years be calling for a red card or even a yellow card. I don't think.
Think about how big your shin pads were back then.
Well, that's a player's choice, though. Like the players choose to wear but the players choose to wear fuckle shin pads now. That's not. There's no coach telling them to do that. Like that's all their own choice. So I don't have any sympathy if you get an injury from. I mean, I remember my shin pads back in the day were insane. How big and thick
they were. Massive, right?
They were massive. They went like all the way up to my shin and like ankle protection. Like everything, like it was a big old piece of
strapped into one, mate.
Yeah, it was like this, like the Muay Thai pads they put on, like for
literally.
It was like that. It was basically the same thing as that.
You were going out.
It made the game better. You could fly in a little bit. I don't know. The game's soft now.
You felt protected.
It is soft, but under the modern rules, it is a red card for sure. It was always going to be a red card, and
Your centre backs obviously getting you out of it as well. Maguire and Delit, who's he seems to be improving as the games go on. But you'd expect that. I mean,
Maguire's actually one of the few people I have to give a lot of credit to because he's been through it in his career since joining United. The amount of hate he's had both from United fans and England fans as well.
Yeah.
Like he's had it a lot, and that guy knows how to persevere and just keep going.
Yeah,
he does just keep plugging away, and he's been really good under Amorim. To be fair, he's been one of the players one of the few, not always, but I've been like, okay, he's by no means been a problem, and Delit as well. I've seen him that game and the game on the weekend, which we'll talk about in a bit. But he was actually he put in a really good performance. It wasn't his fault that it went the way it did.
Yeah. So following on from that game, like I said, it was a big Wednesday. There's three other big games, to be honest. Arsenal played against Forest, which was 0-0. You had Tottenham against Man City, and City won away 1-0. And then Liverpool basically secured the league after Arsenal drew with Forest with a 2-0 win. at home to Newcastle. So yeah, like I said, yeah, they did pretty much secure the lead then, I think, because the gap is just going to be way too much. I don't see Liverpool slipping up or forfeiting that amount of points to put them in real danger for Arsenal to be hot on their heels again like that. They've absolutely fucked it. Let's be honest, Arsenal.
It would have to be probably the biggest bottle job in Premier League history for you to go and win that. And Liverpool have got players who have already won the league in that team, so I just don't see that happening. How are you feeling? How are you?
It's not a good time. It's not a good time. It's literally like that feeling. Oh, it's happened again, man. Like this is like the third season in a row of trying to compete and trying to win that Premier League after so many years, and it's just like I said, it's just another year. It's just another X amount of time of hope. X amount of time of going through those moments, those big games where you've nicked it at the end, or you've thumped teams, you've looked emphatic, you've got players that are all performing out their skin, and then you get down to it and it's just like, well, there's a couple of games where you guys just have absolutely again shown that you're not winners, you're not capable. That's what it feels like. I mean, it's still like they still have come. I don't want to absolutely batter them, but I feel like they've come such a long way, and like I say, you keep competing, but it's going to take its toll eventually. How many more years can they keep trying to do this before the wheels completely fall off? I mean, the wheels are on right now and it's kind of steady, but it's still not enough.
I think we said at the start of the season that it kind of had this feeling if it wasn't going to be this year, it wasn't, and that was presuming City were going to be at the races as well. That was that they were going to be right up there. And it's so different. You see, the City have won 4 in a row. Look how much of a drop off they've had this year. It's like competing over and over and over again, year after year. And I think in football, I think it's different to others. I think when you win, it gives you the confidence and motivation going into the next year. I think when you do finish just short, I think very few teams get that. Okay, we're going to get them back next year, or if you do that, like you guys have done, you still didn't get there the next year, even though you went hard. And then coming into this year, it was going to take something. It is unfortunate because for Arsenal fans, there's been in recent history 2 occasions when when the team who you were expecting to win it fell off. Like you had it when Leicester won the league. Arguably, Arsenal that should have been the year. Arsenal then fell off. That's a big sign. And then this year, the year City really fell off, and it was there for you. And it's not really Liverpool have come out of nowhere and have been playing great, and it's still possible. You guys could have got the few of those results where it still went bad. You could have won those games, and you still might be get a fair few points off. That's sort of how good Liverpool have been for the most part. So it's tough. It's tough for an Arsenal fan. Like, I hear the argument, and I don't know. I'd be interested to see where your head's at. Where people say talking about Arteta should move on, or they should get rid of him and look for a new option, and others are saying, well, look what happened when he sort of took over Arsenal. And I'm sort of the opinion that your expectations shift based on what's happening with you at the moment. Like as a United fan right now, I'm not hoping to win the league. I'm hoping to get into the top half of the table and start moving from there. So
again, you want to be presentable again.
But of course, an Arsenal fan isn't sat there thinking, "I hope we get in the top 10." And vice versa. When Arteta first took in, you weren't talking about winning the league. You were talking about getting competitive and being up there. And then he did that. And it's you do have to keep moving it and taking it.
Well, the next question as well: who is the guy to come in then and take us to that next level? Then who is?
That's true. No, I agree. There's not many.
You know what I mean? Like, as much as people say that about Arteta, and maybe it's time he's taken us as far as we can go. I don't know, but or you could just say, listen, they sit down and have a meeting in the season. You've got one more window, and if it's like I don't know though, but then you'll say you give him one more window, and then even if he is absolutely caning it by Christmas next year, let's say, what about if they fall off after Christmas? I mean, maybe there's got to be, they put that into agreement. You have to win the league next year. That's or you walk. You win the league or you walk. I think that that's absolute like worst case scenario for him right now.
Yeah.
I think
I'm
that's
sort
what
of
we need to see.
I'm in the camp where I think it's much more likely or much more of a possibility that if you say give Arteta another summer and
Yeah,
if he one or two more players, that is more likely to get you to the finish line than
yeah,
bringing a new manager who might want to bring in five new players.
exactly. That
Like
exactly,
so that
which is
I'd
going
say
to be
he's
more
probably
costly.
closer. Yeah, and it's going to be more costly, and
Exactly.
it may like because it's going to be a different philosophy and everything's going to like it might
Your
just
vibe
shift
and like all of that.
towards. Yeah, and I think that again that's the problem United get a lot is we recruit specifically just based on the manager's preferences and as well, and then we sack them, and then the next manager's like, well, I don't fucking like the kind of player, and now I've got 10 of them in
Yeah,
my squad. So it's like, oh, well, I haven't. So I think I do. It's not like he's fallen off like big time. Like you're probably going to be your
yeah,
worst case. You're probably going to be third in the league. That's I don't know that. And again, maybe it's because my expectations have adjusted, but that just doesn't seem like that bad of a. If that's a really shit season now for you guys, is
yeah,
finishing third. I think you're on the right
yeah.
track still. Like,
Yeah, definitely. Especially, yeah, exactly like you said. After seeing what's going on with your club right now,
yeah.
it's
And
not
so
great
let's
timing.
see what happens. I think if he does get, say for example, if he's able to go out and buy like I don't know who it would be at this point, but if he goes and gets
This
like
is the thing, yeah, that as
a good
well.
striker and another good player that he needs, and then still doesn't get, then yeah, as you said, I think then it's probably time to move on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, let's see what happens because it's gonna be a big summer,
Yeah,
regardless. And I
or
think that's just not even Arsenal. That's across the board as well for a lot of teams, man. It's a big
I
summer
do
period.
think you should. You never know what happens. Some like a lot of it, and it's what kind of United did, which felt smart in the moment and didn't quite work out. Was you wait till the right person's available? Like I say, right
Mm.
now, who would you possibly put in? But let's say I don't. I'm just saying, throw out a name. Ancelotti was like, "Oh, I fancy living in London or whatever," and Arsenal like, "Okay, we could get Ancelotti." You should 100% fire Arteta based on whatever he is in the league at that point. Unless he's not, you should just fire him.
He's got
So
Chelsea ties though, man. That's the thing. He's got Chelsea ties. He's got Everton
Are
ties.
you
Like I don't know.
shitting me? You telling me you wouldn't bring in Ancelotti to your team because he did fucking 16 months at fucking Chelsea or whatever?
No, I'm not saying that, but it's what he's saying. Do you know what I mean? He seems like he's a pretty, you know,
I don't think he gives a shit.
is he going to go to another team in London sort of guy? I don't really see him as being that,
London's a
you
bit
know.
because there's so many teams in London. It's a bit like if you do that in Liverpool, or Manchester, you're picking the other team. Whereas in London,
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
fucking 20 teams like across different leagues and stuff. So it's
yeah.
like it's not the same. It's not the same.
Well, in
I was
terms of
just
like,
using him as an example anyway. Like it doesn't have to be. I'm
yeah,
just
but
saying if
I hear what you're
someone
saying.
like with
That is true
a proven winner
because
became
obviously there's some
available.
dead London teams.
Yeah, exactly. He's not going to be managing fucking Millwall, is he?
Yeah. Talking
Okay.
of Millwall, we're going to get onto the FA Cup, but before we talk about the Millwall game, because that was on the Saturday, let's talk
Yeah.
about the Friday game. There was a Friday FA Cup game, which was Aston Villa Cardiff. Asensio, mate, 2 goals.
Yeah.
Come on. What a signing he's proved to be, mate. Rashford getting an assist as well. Ollie Watkins getting the second assist, or did I do that the right way around? But anyway, like all of those 4, just like Asensio, Rashford, Watkins, all linking up. Like that was.
Yeah.
It was only Cardiff. Cardiff, they've been troubled in the league in the Championship this season, so they're not really flying high. But that's a big win for Villa. They needed to do that, and no upset there. And throwing themselves into the next round, mate, which is interesting. It's heating up.
Yeah, no, there's a good Asensio's looking. So I'm glad because when I saw him like coming onto the scene for Real Madrid, he looked like such a player, and then just kind of got some injuries, and then just disappeared, and you never really. So it's good to see him doing it in the Prem, or doing it in England at least.
Yeah, definitely.
And yeah, no, I'm pleased for him, and there's a part of me that's a little bit like happy for Rashford in some ways. It's like just whatever.
Yeah.
It wasn't all bad with him. It was just it ended bad.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. So,
It was just frustrating, wasn't it? That's what it was.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
like
think the media helped.
No, but I don't think he helps himself either. I think he plays up to. Anyway, I feel like I'm talking about an ex-girlfriend that I don't want to go into it.
It's time, man. Let's not even go down that road.
Yeah.
Let's not even go down that road. Well, yeah, Villa got themselves through into the last 16 of the FA Cup, so they're joining some of the other teams we're going to talk about now. You mentioned Millwall. Obviously, Ancelotti's not going to manage Millwall. They got beat by Palace 3-1 at home. That was a South London derby, big game. Did you see? I think the biggest talking point was the flying kick. He has absolutely taken Mateta's head off. They said I think he needed over 20 stitches. You know that?
Fucking hell, that's mad. I didn't realise it was that bad.
Like, to think Mateta's, I think he's like 6'3", 6'4", right? Yeah. So to think how high this goalkeeper's foot is to take his head off like that.
Yeah. No, it's scary. It's really scary that you would go and do that. That you would take that.
Liam Roberts, shame on you, boy.
Oh yeah, no, and also like it was pointed out by other punters. He's 30 years old, isn't he, or something like that? I think is the goalkeeper. He's not like an inexperienced player.
Yeah.
Who didn't know what he was doing. He's very well experienced. Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
And do you know what annoys me most when I get really fucking pissed off when you see goalkeepers doing these kind of challenges, because boy oh boy, if you make any fucking contact with them, do they get upset about it? Like, my
goodness. They go down so easy.
I've had rants about goalkeepers on this show before, and I will continue to do so. I do not like them or respect them at all. I think you're a bunch of fucking losers who have attached yourself to the beautiful game in the worst way possible. I respect you as much as I respect a ref. That's about where I consider you as a goalkeeper.
No respect for the GK Union. That's a bit harsh, Jimmy. That's a bit harsh.
No. But
that kick was crazy though. It was absolutely mental.
I think you should be banned. I think you should be banned for at least the rest of the season for doing that, because like, you could actually kill someone. I know that sounds dramatic, but you could. Yeah. Kicking someone in the head with studded boots.
The point I was trying to make is Mateta's 6'3". He's 6'3", 6'4". Your foot should never be that high anyway. No. That's dangerous play, bro. Like, regardless of you trying to clear your lines or do your thing as a goalkeeper, whatever. That's dangerous.
Unless you're like, the follow through of a kick, for example, your foot rarely should be even above the waist, unless the waist height. I mean, the foot itself, obviously, like it's rare that it would actually ever, and for a goalkeeper, never. Your foot shouldn't even come across the waist. There's no reason for it to. Like, it was
way too high, too
insane.
Way too high.
I hope he gets banned, and he gets abuse at every stadium he plays at. Yeah.
Every striker shitting themselves, mate. Don't kill me, mate. Don't kill me. Flipping out.
Yeah.
GBH. That was GBH. So the
Although I bet it will have opposition strikers looking up when they run through on him now. They won't be looking at the ball anymore. So maybe in that sense it was genius.
That's the analysis. That's going to be all the analysis, mate. You stay clear of those 50-50s with him, mate, unless you want to end up in the hospital with stitches.
Exactly.
So this was a bit of an upset, I would say, even though they're both in the Championship. So we've got a Championship team. Preston are the lowest ranked team left in the competition. They beat... Oh, are they the lowest ranked? Yeah, they are. So they beat Burnley 3-0. Scotty Parker and his little run, that long run actually of clean sheets. Well, it was not him, but his goalkeeper Trafford. But the thing is, his clean sheet record was preserved because Trafford didn't play on Saturday, but they got beat 3-0 away to Preston. So no round of 16 for Scotty Parker. Big win there for Preston. They got nothing to play for. For those who don't really follow the Championship table, they're not going to get into the playoffs. They're not going to get relegated, but there's a chance for them. Do you see them going any further than the next round?
No.
Is that where it's going to end? It was nice. They're going to have. It was nice. It was nice to get the W, but you don't see them going any further than the next round.
No, but like who does? Like, is
the
there
magic of the FA Cup?
Yeah, but that's what the magic is someone winning that you don't expect them to. Like, if I expected them to get through to the next round, then where's the magic?
Yeah.
So I hope it'd be great if they go through. But no, of course, I think they're gonna struggle against play next. I don't know.
I think they got Villa actually.
I think the FA Cup for me is more. I think if you have more like British-based players, at least that know what that is. I feel like the higher you get up the divisions, like some player from like Portugal isn't going to give a fucking shit about. He's like, what? I don't care about that. I don't think that's true. Like, so I don't know. I think that the magic of the FA Cup is lost with basically Championship and above.
Okay, fair. That's the opinion. But fair enough, mate. Fair enough. As we're going through the rest of the games from the FA Cup on Saturday, two more we're going to discuss is Bournemouth against Wolves. That ended up going to penalties, and Bournemouth went through on penalties. Did you see Cunha losing his head again? This guy, mate, he's an absolute tool. He's a great player, but he's such a head loss. Did you see it?
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't understand how this
so
keeps
aggressive.
happening.
He's so angry, bro.
It is weird. I mean, you don't know I don't know, mate. There's something happened to this man when he was younger. I don't know. This is bizarre behaviour.
Just use your head, bro. Like, what's wrong with you?
It's just not that deep, is it?
No, that's what I'm thinking as well. Just like, why is your head so gone?
Yeah, it's bizarre.
And I see him on his Ballers in God page as well, and I was like, "Hey, you're a man of God as well, and you're behaving like this. Come on, bro. Relax. Why is Satan inside you? Calm down."
History, men of God have been the ones that have shown the most aggression, but that's another lesson for another day.
Oh, okay, yeah. Let's not get into that, but yeah, that was a good one for Bournemouth. I reckon they're the surprise package so far of the competition. I can see them just with the season they're having, like honestly making it to the final. Like they've gone through on penalties in this round. Like the next round they can do something jammy again, or even just convincingly. I'll keep an eye out for them. I reckon they're a good shout. And then the last game of Saturday, Man City against Plymouth. They actually peppered Plymouth's goal, I think, in terms of if you're looking at the stats and that. Plymouth obviously made the game interesting by going 1-0 up. It was squeaky bum time for City, but they obviously came through in terms of the quality in the end. O'Reilly, mate, you seen the size of that flipping unit?
No, I haven't. What's it?
Left back, mate. Well, I think he played at left back. He's an absolute giant, mate, and he scored 2 goals, 2 set pieces, 2 goals. Another promising player that City have got there, pulling them out. De Bruyne as well, he's getting himself on the score sheet. El Capitan. It looks like that's going to be his last season. And City, you would say that's probably the last thing they've got to play for as well this season. So I wouldn't rule them out. I definitely wouldn't rule them out because obviously, they do like a trophy. Do you think they're strong contenders for it?
Yeah, they've still got one of the best squads in the whole country. So yeah, they've got to be one of the favourites still. And yeah, they do seem to be. I don't know. We'll see how they fare, I guess, as it progresses. But they're definitely you always have to put them as one of the
out of the Champions League. No title to go for. He's clearly. Listen, it technically is because of the amount of signings he brought in January. It's like he's doing a semi rebuild as well. They've got quite a lot of older players, quite a lot of older 30s there now as well. When you look at it,
yeah.
So he's trying to do, like I said, a semi rebuild there. So it'll be interesting to see if they can at least pick up a trophy after a terrible kind of defence of the 4th Premier League in a row. Trying to go for that 5th, that was clearly too much to ask. We'll go into Sunday now because we'll talk about your boys again. But before we talk about your boys, Newcastle were at home to Brighton, and they were beaten 2-1. Vinte and Welbeck. Welbeck, mate, this guy. He's getting. I think we've spoke about him, or I've spoke about him definitely on the pod already this season. But he's just getting. It seems like he's getting. I don't want to say better and better, but he's managing to stay fit, and he's showing what he actually can do when he stays fit. Getting the winner there, and Newcastle again. I think we need to pull them up as well because you know, that they were at home, one, and two, they got the talent there in their squad. Like, how have they managed to come up short against Brighton?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they should be winning that game, especially with the ambitions that they have for sure. But like I say, Brighton are a good team for sure. They're not. It doesn't shock you if Brighton beat really anyone anymore. Not shock you. At least it might be an upset,
Yeah,
but you wouldn't be like, "Oh my god, I can't believe that's happened."
yeah,
But yeah, speaking on Danny Welbeck, I'm super happy for him. I loved him when he was at United. He was I know part of an era of strikers actually working their arse off and trying, and
yeah.
he scored some. He was one I didn't want to see him go to Arsenal when he went, but it is what it is, and then it was a shame, as I say, yeah, just seeing how, because the kid you saw when he was at United those first couple of years, it was like, oh man, this is a ridiculous talent,
Yeah,
a ridiculous
yeah,
talent.
excited, weren't you?
Super excited. It felt like you had just secured the future, especially with like him and Makeda. I remember like back in like 2008. This is the future secure. We don't need to do anything. Like just get those guys. And boy, did that not turn out to be the case. But Welbeck, showed many times. Even at Arsenal, there was times when he showed moments of what he could be, and then
Yeah, he was just
was
he had
never.
an
It was
injury,
always.
so
It was yeah. You worried that it was going to be. It very much looked like it was going to be the story of what if with him. What could have been. So
yeah,
good for him that he's getting to show that. Yeah, there is actually a very talented player there, and it's not just a good patch of form. No, this is actually
consistent,
class,
yeah.
class, man. How many? He's just constantly.
And for this, I think Brighton manager as well. We've got to give him his dues because they're, he's the youngest. I think the youngest Premier League manager. They had a little spell earlier on in the season where I think they went like something like 7 or 8 games without a win, but there wasn't too much noise being made, but it was one of those like, oh, have you seen Brighton recently? But then they picked themselves up. They've got this big FA Cup win as well. So fair play to him. He's doing his bits there at Brighton. Let's talk about your boys now because you were at home to Fulham. The game was 1-1 again. This is another game decided by penalties. Unfortunately for you, it's another competition that you bow out of. Big Manchester United losing to Fulham. Take it away, mate. What have you got to say about the game?
I was expecting to lose, as I do now, almost every single time we play, which is just ridiculous. It's a ridiculous place to be in. Shit performance. Fulham 100% deserve to win. And yeah, it is what it is. It's just like we just can't get anything going. I do hate the. I do think it's very unfair. Obviously, there was sort of some famous, well spoken about criticism of Bruno Fernandes from people like Roy Keane and things like that recently. And I do think that's harsh because it's like it is scary where we'd be without him. In my opinion,
take him out of your team right now. Whew.
Yeah,
you'd be in bigger shit than you are in now.
I think I really believe if Bruno Fernandes was playing for a top team, he would be the way he'd be getting spoken about would be crazy. Like people talking about how
of course
how good he is.
I back that as well.
Yeah.
I think he's instrumental to everything you guys are doing and have done since he joined. If I'm being honest, there's fans. There's times where he's frustrating. He does annoy fans. He does. Even probably like phases of playing games as well where you feel like he might kill your attack or slow it down or make the wrong decision. But the amount of times he makes the right decision or he just gets you out of games.
Also, it's like at least there's someone trying to be fucking brave enough to make a decision. At least like they're trying.
Yeah.
I look at Bruno and I look at his. Yeah, there's certain parts of his personality which aren't great because you see him like I don't know reacting in a bad way. But I also think he's someone that could have played under Fergie for sure. I think Fergie would have loved him, like playing in that 10 role, and would probably have been able to get those negative parts out of his game easier. But it's going to be a lot of frustration. He's he would have had so many ambitions and goals of when he came to Man United and what that was going to be. And we've won some trophies along the way. But a player like him would want to win the Prem for sure. Would 100% want to win the Premier League and. it's almost certain he's not going to achieve that at Man United. And it's very unlikely we're going to sell him to a rival club, regardless of what's offered. And it's unlike it's getting close to 30 now. It's not like you're going to get offered a crazy amount of money.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's a shame. I fully back him. He's one of the few positive things I have to say about Manchester United, but the rest of it is just fucking depressing. Depressing as fuck.
What are you? You said you had a little rant that you said you wanted to go on. It's just enough.
I don't expect any not just rival fans, any other football fans to feel any sympathy towards me or any other United fan for that matter. To be clear, I'm not expecting the violins to come out, but it is so depressing to be a Man United fan right now. And I don't mean just it's not actually just the results. The results suck. It's the constant shit that's happening behind the scenes of it being revealed. And I don't blame Ineos for all of it. But it's very clear that it's just getting embarrassing every with each week or month.
Yeah.
We're sacking another. I do think what's happened. A lot of people criticise the redundancies. I do think there are. It's going to sound kind of horrible, but there probably were a lot of people there that weren't needed because you don't just go and make. Typically, companies don't just go and make redundant people that are really critical to the business. It's like they'll be looking at the marketing department, for example, and they'll be like, "There's 10 people here, and 5 people could probably do this job." It's probably how they're looking.
Yeah, trust me.
And I have heard things about during when Fergie, in the time from Fergie left to before Ineos came in, I think our staff had doubled in that time. So the amount of staff we brought on, it's I don't know, I can't be 100% sure on that. But I believe we've massively increased our staff numbers in the time since Fergie left. So from when we were a well-run club, and I think, and those staff are obviously they're just people like office people probably, or people in the sales team or whatever. So I think there probably was a lot of dead wood, but it is still really embarrassing. Like when you're having a Dan Ashworth situation, and you're wasting all the money.
That was mad.
You're wasting all the money on Ten Hag, all of that shit, and then you're firing the fucking dinner lady. Like, how is that? How is that? And it is. It's hard. You want when you support your club, it's a big deal. It's a huge deal, right? To anyone and what your club, what Manchester United used to represent to me, and what I loved is growing up, is they had this never say die attitude. And it was so exciting to watch because it felt like they were never going to give up. And regardless of how many minutes had been played or what the score was, they were going to keep coming. And I found that was such an inspiring and cool thing to be behind and support.
Oh, United!
Never give up, kind of shut up.
We were so strong.
Yeah. Well, you support Arsenal because the players are black, and that's a fact. That's why Arsenal. It's not because you're
not entirely true. But
because you're from North London. You're from Reading. You're from Reading. You supported the team that had African and black players. Obviously, I get it. I totally get it. Yeah, I supported the team of white Scottish and Irish boys. All right. All right. It's cool. Totally get it.
You kept it relevant.
Okay, so, but you look at the team now. You look at what and nothing from the reason why I like them, and for none of that still exists. Not a single resemblance to what that used to be. It's they stand for nothing. It's they don't give a shit about just fucking over the working class and through firing people and then just raising ticket prices. It's just every single
the ticket prices. That's all.
It's just every decision they make. I go, this isn't what we do. This isn't how we do things. And it's just so obviously you're stuck with it for life, and that's what makes me so sad. Is I go, I'm just stuck with this burden, and I don't I can't watch football and not have a team. I can't really watch any sport for that matter and not have an interest in a team within that.
Yeah, you don't want to be a mutual, basically.
No, I can't. Even if I'm watching a game not of the two teams I like. Somehow, one of those two teams will have some kind of impact, whether that's their playing my team in the short-term future, or they're close to my team in the league. Something where it makes it interesting for me to now watch these two teams that I don't support play, as an example.
Yeah.
So, and if I don't support anyone, I just don't care. I just don't care about the sport.
Yeah.
So I do get quite sort of tribalistic with that. But Man United sucks. It's embarrassing. I fucking hate the team I support. I will not spend any money. I encourage every United fan never to buy another jersey. I said jersey because I live in here. That's horrible.
Jersey, you know. Sorry, Canadian boy.
No, that didn't feel good. I didn't like that one. A kit, football top. Don't buy any football kits or tops until they start showing us a little bit of respect back. I think that it goes both ways. Yeah.
Cry more. We love it. We're going to talk about the Champions League now, mate, because obviously we've got that coming up tomorrow. It's Monday today. Arsenal against PSV Eindhoven. It is a lot of people have just said, listen, Arsenal are just like in the competition now for joy, because even if they do go through, they've got Real Madrid or Atletico next round. So it's, you know, it's one of those, like, they should go through, but it's one of those as well that over two legs, I've seen Arsenal mess up in Europe plenty of time, and that's the kind of game we've got. Luke, an old forward as well, Lucas Perez, who was a free agent. I think he just signed for them as well. It's one of those that's just written that he'll come on and score the winner or something like that as well. It's just, you know, maybe not this game, the second leg, but you know, it should be standard, and Arsenal should go through from that game. But I don't know if it's going to be as simple as it should be. Aston Villa are playing Club Bruges. Mm-hmm. That's one of the early games. What do we think about? Well, obviously Villa. This is massive for Villa. Is there an expectation for them, or is it just like, you know, let's just vibes, just see what happens? Because they've got the players they've got now.
I would say, it should just be vibes. And I'd say just because it's amazing that you might think, it's Club Bruges, that's not a huge name, but they've been doing really well. They beat City, didn't they?
So they have done well.
They're not a joke. You're not a joke if you're in this stage of the competition now. Anyway, that's kind of they kind of whittled that stuff out. So I think they would definitely look at it as a missed opportunity if they don't win, or if they don't go through, should I say? But I don't think it's not a disaster if they don't either. It's already a great story, I think, for them, it's been a good season. But they should absolutely go for it though. They should be absolutely going for it. So that would be one of the. I think
they're away for the first leg as well. They're away, so
that's good.
Obviously, away goals don't count anymore, but they're obviously not going to want to go there and get slapped.
Game out of the way, though,
Yeah, definitely, especially like them coming back to the Villa Park. That's going to be electric, I think.
Yeah, crazy
for that second leg. It's going to be crazy. A few other games. You got Borussia Dortmund against Lille. Dortmund at home. That yellow wall, crazy. Guirassy scoring goals for fun. I think he's got like 22, 23 now for the season. They signed him from Stuttgart. He is just he's just proven to be a bagsman. And then the other game, which I think a lot of people are going to actually tune in for that game over any of the games tomorrow night, is Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid. What an absolute game. Real Madrid at home first. What do we think in terms of predictions for that game, first leg?
I don't know. I don't know with that one, because it really could go either way. I think that's a super interesting one. I don't know. I would.
Did you see the result? Obviously, the Atletico Barca game when they did that was 4-4. Like, damn. I didn't even think Atletico Madrid defense was leaky enough to be dropping 4 in a game. So like this Real Madrid game,
Barcelona's attack's been crazy this season with the amount of goals they've scored. Go and look at Rafinha's stats this season. It's absolutely mental. So they do score for fun, but I think their problem is they can't defend as well. But you're right. It is kind of weird seeing Atletico concede for. But I don't know. I think it's hard to ever root against Real Madrid in the Champions League.
Or is it going to be one of those games where we talk it up thinking it's going to be mega and it ends up just being like a 0-0, and then the second leg is going to be
I don't think it will be. I think the first leg. I don't think it's going to be a good game. I don't think the first leg will be a good game. I think it will be just a kind of average game. One of the teams may win. It might be a draw. I think the second leg's where you're going to see when it gets into that second half.
Really good. I think the second leg's going to be fiery.
Yeah, second leg, second half of that game is gonna start getting tasty. I think. Yeah,
you'll see all sorts. I mean, that's literally, it's still going to be the game of the 2 days to watch, because the next day is, so we got Feyenoord against Inter Milan. Feyenoord did very well to get through. They put out AC Milan. That was a funny story from the last leg, because the striker Jimenez was at Feyenoord, left Feyenoord in the transfer window, joined AC Milan, scored, and then obviously ended up getting knocked out by the team that he left to join. So, mental for him.
The coach of Feyenoord. Have I got that right?
Yes, he is indeed.
Yeah.
So that's, again, now more people would start to take a bit more of an interest, just because he was a legend in the game, and you just tend to do that now. We're at that age where we do that with the managers that are starting to get these positions at these big clubs. Bayern Munich have got Leverkusen. Again, that's another big game, but I think people are going to say Atletico Real is the bigger game. But again, to have that in the Champions League on Wednesday, that is a big game. Bayern Munich are at home first. I don't know if that's a winner there in terms of the actual Champions League winner out of those two, but they could both potentially go far.
Agreed. I think you could easily see whoever wins out of Real Madrid, Atletico, and the winner of those two games, Bayern, Leverkusen versus Munich, either one of those winning the whole thing.
They're definitely strong contenders. What were we saying? The other Spanish team in it, Barcelona, they are away to Benfica. That should be. I mean, Benfica again. These Portuguese teams. You can't really ever take them for granted. I'll be completely honest. We've seen it from. I think Mourinho literally made us stand up and realise that you never take Portuguese teams for granted from what he did at Man United against Man United. With that Porto team. So even though, again, on paper, and the bookmakers will probably say Barcelona, it could be an interesting tie over 2 legs for sure. Yeah. And then the last one, again, this is another big game. There's 3 big games, but this one here, PSG against Liverpool. Liverpool are away in this first leg. PSG, you don't ever really want to be going to Anfield in the second leg, I'll tell you that. And PSG have been scoring for fun of late. They have got some exciting players going forward. Liverpool have obviously been doing their thing with Arne. How do we see that game going? Because that's going to be it's going to be another great tie.
So I can see PSG winning the first leg, but what's kind of this is going to sound kind of weird, but I think a 1-0 win is more beneficial to them than like a 3-0 win. Because when Liverpool are that far behind in the second leg, they just start going crazy. So I think it's weirdly better to just win 1-0 and just maybe they approach the game a little bit more relaxed than just full throttle.
You don't want to be going to Anfield and these are hunting you. It
sounds mental. It sounds stupid. It probably is stupid advice. But I would
the funny thing is, people will get what you're saying.
I think what I mean is, if I was a PSG player and I win 3-0 in Paris, I'm not thinking I'm in that final yet at all.
Yeah, you're not.
Whereas I would think that against most other teams, I would be like, yeah, we've got 1 foot in there now, or not? Sorry, 1 foot in the next round. Sorry, final, but 1 foot in the next round. Whereas, I don't think any PSG, unless it's 6 or 7-0, I don't think any of those players are going to think that. It's so, and that's crazy. That's crazy. That's how bad it would have to get before they'd start thinking that this game's done. Because I hate saying it. I have feelings about Scousers, but that's you have to give the Anfield atmosphere and the way they get their team behind their team is incredible.
It's incredible. Yeah,
it used to be like that once upon a time.
back in there, lad. Back in there.
Back in there.
But yeah, no longer. You are no longer. So those are the two days of Champions League games. Obviously, you guys are in action as well. You are away to Sociedad on the Thursday. Tottenham are also in action as well. They're away to AZ Alkmaar. Europa League, I think both teams should both be looking to definitely go and win that competition for sure, I think. And definitely, again, that's his last competition that he's in. He always wins something in his second season. So, they're still going to hold him to that. So he really needs to try and get that. I think Tottenham fans,
if he wins the Europa League for Tottenham, he will make us all look fucking stupid. I have to admit.
He'll make everyone look stupid, and he'll have Tottenham fans giving it large to Arsenal fans.
Is that almost for Tottenham? Is that almost statue worthy winning the Europa League? I'm being serious as well, though. It kind of is.
You can't do that, man. You can't do that. There's no way. There's no way that is. There's no way that is. But yeah. There's again Thursday night football. Not everyone will be tuning in, but big games for Man United and Tottenham as well this week in Europe. We get to the next section, Bum of the Week, before we then finish off with the Carragher and Mourinho comments this week, because I think we do need to touch on that. Bum of the Week, your manager, Jimmy, who is that going to be? Who takes the crown this week?
Mine is should be Ruben Amorim. To be fair, hate to do it to him, but it's been a rough. But I am actually giving it to the man that Ruben Amorim managed to beat, Kieran McKenna, and the reason being is because if you can't beat this Man United team, you're kind of a bum anyway. At this point, you're kind of.
I hear it, and it makes complete sense. It does.
To not beat a Man United team that's down to 10 men, and you let them score against you whilst they have 10 men, maybe even 2 goals.
When you put it like that, Kieran.
2 goals with 10 men. I know it's Ipswich and things like that. I said it at the start of the season. Oh, this is actually something I want to touch on because this comes back to a point I made at the start when we spoke about teams and them trying to play a certain type of football when they come up from the Championship, okay? So last season, when Burnley came up, right, after they dominated, the bottom 3 last season was the lowest total accumulation of points between the bottom 3. Okay, that was the lowest ever that the bottom 3 had together. This season, we're on track to beat that again, okay? So it'll be back-to-back lowest ever points totals from the bottom 3. And both of these seasons in particular, teams have come up and tried to play. Okay, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work. I said this at the start of the season. It's very satisfying for me when something happens exactly as I said. It's very, very satisfying. I don't get many things right in life, so that one it's always good when they happen. So that's my point. And again, so I think you're a bum if you try and outplay teams like that, and if you can't beat Man United with 10 men, you're a bum. Simple as that.
I absolutely hear it. Some great points there. My one, I've gone with. Who did I? Oh my god!
I thought you were just doing suspension, not actually trying to remember.
I was gonna. Well, this is the thing though, because I was gonna say Amorim. I was gonna say Amorim as well, but you know what? It's just been tough for him since he's come through the door. So I feel like that was kind of easy. I've gone with Eddie Howe because it's another defeat for them. You know, they've turned up in other games, other important games this season. E.g., Arsenal. It's always a cup final against Arsenal, then, man. But you know, they have managed to get themselves down to 10 men. Obviously, it was silly from Anthony Gordon, but he's now going to miss the Carabao Cup final because of what's happened. And then, you know, they were at home to Brighton. Like I said, Brighton are really just like, you never really know with them. And I just feel like, you know, this Newcastle side, the players that they have, the squad that he's building there, and also just Eddie Howe as a manager. Like, people always talk about him and the job that he's done in that. Well, this is where he needs to be winning these kind of games for us to really be taking him seriously and to stand up and be counted. Of course, the Liverpool game, you can't really. Liverpool just in great form, so it is a loss for him. Obviously, that game. That's why he 2 hours in a week. He lost that game, but that was away to Liverpool, and that's a very strong side. But the cup defeat at home to Brighton, going down to 10 men as well, and then in extra time losing that's going to hurt. That's going to hurt. And then the fact that Danny Welbeck, again, we touched on that, but Danny Welbeck played for Sunderland as well. The fact that he's gone there and he's scored the winner as well, that's gonna be even more salt being added to the wound. So Eddie Howe is my bum of the week manager. Let's finish off on comments that were made by Jamie Carragher. Obviously, that was nearly a week ago now. We'll touch on it because it does need to be spoken about, because Carragher is one of those that, he's a love or hate kind of guy. He does, when you watch him, there are times when you think, he does talk a lot of sense. Some people might enjoy the things that he's talking, and then he ruins it by doing or saying stupid things. And this was another one of those moments where he has completely said, I think he'll even, Handmack will come out and say that that was completely, it was not taken out of context. It was just completely the wrong thing to say.
It was just the way he said it. It was just one of those things where I don't really get why you're bringing this up, because it was like, Mo Salah's going to go play in the AFCON. He does it every single time. So, for example, AFCON always had a little bit more importance to me because I knew you from a young age, and I knew that it was important to you. So it then had a higher status in my mind. However,
in the competitions,
if I didn't have African friends, it would be how I imagine the African community looks at the Euros. I don't imagine any of them give a shit about the Euros. Outside of it might be a bit of entertainment, but I don't see them caring at all about it. Or weighing any level of importance on winning that competition, not like the World Cup, for example. So for me, it's just the same thing. It's just the same. But he could have just, and I do believe he is right in that Mo Salah winning AFCON will not impact him winning the Ballon d'Or or not. I do think he is 100% right about that.
That's one statement that you can say, okay, fair enough, Jamie. That's probably not an incorrect or wrong,
But it's also like what I think what annoys me with modern day punditry and him in particular is they say things now just to be a little bit shocking. Like, why not? You could just have that opinion. You can just have it, and that's it. You could just be like, I don't think him winning winning AFCON would ever help him win the Ballon d'Or. You don't have to go make a huge point about it on TV, and make it kind of a weird thing. And it was just like I say, it's or not. What was weird is him not saying, for me, it's not important. Like, just saying it's not important is a weird position to take, because it is a subjective.
I think that's what pissed people off as well. It's like, well, who is Jamie Carragher? Like, what have you won? Like, what have you done? Like, even internationally, you weren't even the man for England. So, like, how dare you even come out and say this? They are completely right on that.
And of course, for someone that plays maybe not even in one of Europe's top 5 leagues, or maybe even below in a second tier somewhere, and then gets to play for internationally for their country and may even win it. Of course, it's the biggest deal to them. Of course, it would be the biggest deal. Just like I say, just like the Euros is for us. Like it's the same. It's the exact same thing. It's just their comment. He wouldn't have said that.
The thing is with Carragher, he would have played with fellow Africans. He's played with them of ethnicity, with his club, and even with his country. Obviously, there would have been ones that could have qualified for England from second heritage, etc. But he would have played with plenty of African players, and he would have known about the competition. He would have known the importance. So it was just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous for him to say. Like you said, you feel like some of these pundits say this. Yeah, like you said, you made a great point. You feel like some of them maybe they know that they're going to be controversial by saying it, and they just want to keep themselves relevant or want to keep the broadcaster that they're working for in the limelight as well, because it's good publicity for them.
For sure.
You know,
for sure.
that's the kind of thing that this kind of statement, it feels like that.
Yeah. Well, and because they're aware of it as well. Like that, you remember the famous Casemiro one, leave the football before the football leaves you. That gets shared everywhere now and is like used and referenced and things. And he will be fully aware that when he said that something like that was going to happen, but then also seeing how often it's happened. So they're just chasing that constantly. It feels like, let me just chase the next, like, you know, you see Gary Neville do it when he called billion pound bottle jobs. He called Chelsea. Like, they know what they're doing. 100%. They know exactly what they're doing. And then even when they're trying to be apologetic about it afterwards, they won't shut the fuck up about it. They're like, "Oh, maybe I was wrong to say that. Do you remember when? Do you remember when I said that? Do you remember?" And we're like, "Well, we actually didn't. You've reminded us, like, because you couldn't let it go. You know, so like, so fuck them all. I hate punditry. For me, football would start 5 seconds before kickoff and would just end 5 seconds after kickoff. That's it.
You've never actually watched. I know watching games with you. Yeah, you're literally just game and that's it. Like, you don't want to see any of that. So
hated it. I don't need you to show me a replay of something I not only watched happen. They showed me 3 replays after it happened anyway. So like, I don't need you now to walk me through it. Like I don't. It's always like, oh, do you see that he ran from here, and they just draw a line of where he's ran. I'm like, I saw him run there. I know he's ran there. The line isn't doing anything. Anyway.
You don't like it, mate. You don't appreciate their thing.
I hate it.
It's cool, mate. We can keep it moving. Moving. But talking of keeping it moving, thank you very much for joining me again this week for this week's episode. Hopefully, we're gonna be back again talking about some more crazy stuff going on in the footballing world between now and the end of the season. But we've got some great games to look forward to this week. Really looking forward to it. Hopefully the boys, Arsenal, don't let us down again the way they have been of recent. Your boys, let's see what they pull up away to Sociedad. That's going to be a real interesting game. But yes, thank you very much for jumping on. Guys, don't forget to like, follow, share, subscribe. All of that on the portals, or the platform, should I say? Portals like I'm at work. On the platforms, and that's on TikTok. That is on Instagram as well for the Top Cinco Pod, and that's at Top Cinco Pod. Like, follow, share, subscribe. Jimmy, thank you very much for joining, bro.
Pleasure, mate. Pleasure.